Welcome back, everyone, to another glorious Company of Heroes 2 replay cast. And this time I have vodka because otherwise I'm not going to survive this, most likely. Anyway, we have a replay sent in by the glorious Alan. Wait, why is there no game volume? Alright. Alright, let's increase that. Anyway, we have a glorious game, as we have already established. It is on BELGOROD. You know, a map that I don't know anything about because I never played on it. It's new, right? It has to be. Anyway, he is playing as the... Well, Alan is obviously playing as the Soviets. Glorious Soviet Union. He's already getting out some peanut battalions. And his friend in this glorious 2v2 is going to be HM9000, or Rararagi. My favorite little schizo-Romanian boy. We've got support weapons company, so we can already tell that these two are actually talking to each other and not being stupid, which is incredible. Anyway, let's see if their enemies are stupid. We have an OKW man, Ancient Pharaoh. Bit of a funny name, and another OKW guy called JKD, which I'm gonna, like, my brain is gonna interpret as JFK, but whatever. First engagement coming out between the two engineer squads. Of course, Stern Pioneers going to chase out these combat engineers. Interesting that the Stern Pioneers are going straight for the, well, point outside the base instead of going for the fuel point and trying to secure at least the fuel income at the beginning. And of course, this does backfire on them because the Penals are already very easily able to reinforce due to the proximity to the base, and this causes a lot of damage to the Stern Pioneer squad, which needs to fall back to its friends. We do have a Kübelwagen on the field for JKD. It's going to start to take some pot shots on the conscript infantry squad. MG, Maxim machine gun, trying to come out. Oh, you should always, when you have the Maxim, you could... One thing you can do is you can attack move, and so when it spots enemies, it automatically sets up to try to fire at the very least. Now, the automatic cone of fire it sets up is often very wrong, but at least you can try to, it can try to get some pot shots off automatically without you having to micro it too well. So that's just a bit of trivia you can do. We do have another conscript squad coming on the field for HM. He has indeed already selected the mechanized support tactics, just like Alan. We have double mechanized support, and oh, looks like the Nazis tried an assault again close to the base, but got repulsed with heavy casualties. 3 Volksgrenadiers going down immediately. Ancient Pharaoh, however, has set up, or hasn't set up, but he has called in a supply half-track, which allows them to build the 221 scout car. Pretty decent unit to do some harassment in the early game, and then it can transition into having a couple utility purposes. It's not the worst, not the worst purchase of all time. The supply half-track is still ready to do something, but who knows what. Anyway, in the north is really where the Germans are doing well. We have JKD pushing up to HM's base, basically. In fact, he's pushed up a little bit too far, and he gets kind of trolled by the machine gun emplacement, and his Stern Pioneers need to get out. Maxim sets up to try to fire. Yeah, the Maxim has been having issues. It's not really been all that useful. It's kind of been an issue of positioning, it kind of seems like. Is it going to be able to at least suppress one of these squads? It's kind of lucky that this Volksgrenadier doesn't really want to get too up close and personal. Conscripts will be able to actually utilize the sandbags to get close and do some damage, which is nice for them, of course. But it looks like they will lose that engagement due to the damage they took moving forward. The Maxim suppressing the first Volksgrenadier squad, allowing the conscripts to close in. While in the south, we have lots of penal squads, actually 3 penals, a bit of a penal spam. We have a 4-1 on the way as well. The scout car is taking a lot of damage. This thing, remember, doesn't have all that much armor, and it's going to go down to small arms fire if you're not careful, and there it goes. And the blob of penals will push forward, but these troops are starting to take a lot of damage on their models, so perhaps they're going to try to get back and lick their wounds. Of course, utilizing the hay bales over here for green cover. Yeah, unless we have an incendiary grenade, I really don't see how the Germans are going to win this engagement. But with the Penals, I feel like, okay, I feel like Alan was expecting the incendiary grenade, and I was expecting the incendiary grenade. So why the hell was there not an incendiary grenade? I have no idea. I have no idea. Anyway, this the fact that the OKW pushed up so far close to the base means that even despite his early game issues, HM is able to basically utilize the proximity to his base to push up and reclaim some lost ground. Engineers hit a mine and very lucky to come out alive with that flamethrower. Germans slightly ahead on that fuel income. But now the south is basically secured, and up north we do have the VP being captured. We do have the other strategic point being captured. The munitions has unfortunately been decapped, and there's really nothing that can recap it right now. Perhaps the engineers, once they're finished here, the engineers can probably go for a tier 3 at the moment with the 90 fuel, which is what Alan is doing. He's getting out that Tank Heavy Battalion Command. Most likely can get out a T-70. In fact, Ancient Pharaoh is having some issues because, I mean, we are 6 minutes into the game and he's only got 3 infantry squads. He does have 80 fuel and has gone for the elite armor doctrine, so obviously allowing him to get the Sturmtiger. But I don't know. Not kind of strange how his manpower situation basically is pretty bad. In the meantime, JKD is going for a flak half-track, which is not the greatest choice of all time, because he knows that his opponent went for tier 2 with the 1910 Maxim machine gun. So exactly why you're going for a flak half-track when you know he can easily counter you with an AT gun, I do not know. Let's speed up a little bit. The Soviets are securing the south side of the map pretty easily. Another flak half-track for Ancient Pharaoh, but I mean, at this point, Alan is going to go for perhaps a T-70, perhaps a Su-76. If he sees, if he sees the flak come out, there goes a Volksgrenadier squad, and that basically secures the south for the Soviets, because the Germans over here just don't have enough infantry squads to contest the area at all, which is going to allow Alan to cap basically these 4 points. Okay, here comes the flak half-track. Immediately spotted. Yeah, he's gonna have the anti-vehicle satchels most likely with at least a couple of the Penals, because he is upgrading those PTRSs now that he sees the flak half-track. Right, this is another point against just going for a flak half-track this early. Well, rather this late, because I mean, had he gone it like a little bit earlier, it would have been better. We do have, oh yeah, we also have a Guards Rifle Infantry deploying on the field to get more PTRSs ready to fire. And yeah, here comes the flak up here. In fact, yeah, why is an HM going for an AT gun? Kind of weird. Fallschirmjägers on the field. Oh, and these conscripts are going to get fucking destroyed. Yep, that is very unfortunate. Nice grenade, actually. One of the few times I see a bundle grenade actually be quite effective. Because what that bundle grenade did is it basically forced the conscripts to move forward instead of keeping themselves in the rear. Oh, here's the Guards Rifleman. However, the flak half-track is able to keep the distance, but it's gonna shoot at the Penals and not at the PTRSs. Kind of weird, not gonna lie. Where's the other guys? They're coming up. Yeah, it's taking pretty heavy damage, you know. Here comes the incendiary, but obviously not gonna be enough. Penals can move up. Yeah, and the flak is now basically not able to hold its ground against the horde of Soviet infantry. And now, actually, the Germans are triple capping the Soviets, and they have basically almost full map control. My prediction of the South being fully capped by the USSR has not come to pass due to the presence of this flak, but this flak is not going to be around for very long. In fact, as you can see, it's very, very low on HP. Needs to pop the smoke to get the fuck out of there, and he's got a couple of squads with PTRSs chasing it down, so now basically all the units for purple can just go and swarm over the south of the map and take some points. T70 on the field for HM. That's going to counter the flak rather easily. In fact, why the hell do we not see any Raketenwerfers is very much beyond me, because I mean, it is 10 minutes into the game. You have to expect to get, especially against the Soviets, you have to expect some armor to come out. You know, the glorious tanks of the motherland are gonna come in and fuck your shit up. So yeah, I'm really not sure, especially as the OKW, why we are not seeing some Raketenwerfers. Very, very strong, especially against light vehicles. Yeah. So this is basically allowing the Russians to come back and take some land in the middle of the map, take some land in the south of the map. Nice grenade coming in, RGD grenade, gonna almost wipe that Fuchs Grenadier. In fact, the grenade might have been better saved for the MG34 heavy machine gun team, which is now pinning the guards. It's now, in fact, pinning almost everyone, but the Penals able to flank around, and holy hell, this volley of fire from the Penals is just going to push back the SDK FZ251-17 flak half-track once again, and the line of fire from these SVT-40s is just absolutely annihilating the yellow infantry, and that's going to allow the munitions points to be decaptured and the strategic points to be decaptured. Now, as far as teching goes for the Germans, we do have a Schwerpanzer headquarters from JKD that is now being discovered by HM9000. Of course, upgraded already with the Nignog authorization. Yeah, the Nazi Varibu Giga Cannon, able to shoot at ground targets. However, with the amount of fuel in the bank for JKD, there's really nothing he can purchase out of that Schwerpanzer headquarters, except for some Obersoldaten, and he has gone for the Fallschirmjägers, you know, the Luftwaffe ground forces. So he doesn't really even need lead infantry anyway, but, you know, better to have a Schwerpanzer headquarters than to not have a Schwerpanzer headquarters, I suppose. So that's that. However, Ancient Pharaoh doesn't even have a Schwerpanzer headquarters. He just has a battle group headquarters. I guess he's gonna bring out a Sturmtiger or something, but still, even then, you might want a Schwerpanzer headquarters to try to. Oh, there goes someone. You might want a Schwerpanzer headquarters to at least try to put some pressure, perhaps with a Panzer IV, on the enemy. And for a while, the Germans were enjoying fuel income advantage, which is obviously very, very nice for them, but they're not really utilizing it at all. While the Soviets, we do have Tankovy Battalion Command, of course, for HM, but also Mechanized Armor Compagnia from Allen. Oh, shit. Was that a squad that just blew up? Well, that was quite something. That guy just blew up. Yeah. Very nice. Looks like a demo charge. Took out a Volksgrenadier. Oh no, it was a satchel. It was a yeah. Actually, these two particular guys refer to using satchels and infantry as the IQ test. As in, will you discover that your guys are being satchel charged and retreat in time, which, you know, takes forever and is not really all that difficult. We do have a Raketenwerfer out on the field, and so the reign of terror of the T-70 will be short-lived, and now the T-70 has to retreat out of there. Ura from a conscript squad, but they're gonna get pushed back. This is a pretty strong force over here from the OKW. I really don't see the Soviets being able to assail this with without a T-34-76, basically. But the Soviets do have a massive advantage in the north in terms of infantry squads. We have 4 conscripts and a guards rifle infantry, plus a couple of engineers, machine gun, AT gun, and of course that T-70. When it comes to light vehicles, it's pretty equal due to the flak half-track. There is the Raketenwerfer, though, to watch out for. However, the thing is, yeah, only 3 infantry squads, well, 2 infantry squads, an engineer, and the Fallschirmjägers. In the south, the flak half-track being still alive is causing some headaches to the Soviets. That might wipe the guards. They get kind of lucky, to be completely honest. They got kind of lucky and get out. In fact, Alan is floating quite a bit of manpower, but now the fuel is going to start to get used as Tier 4 is on the field, and we're going to start to see some T-34 76s, which is, of course, going to counter basically everything that Ancient Pharaoh is currently fielding. Ancient Pharaoh, though, is floating 240 fuel, which is going to get used most likely with the SWS supply half-track, setting up for the Schwerer, of course. Oh, weren't these guys firing at the flak half-track? Well, the flak half-track is being pushed out. In fact, probably had Alan waited for the T-34 to come out to launch this offensive, maybe the flak half-track would be dead right now, because you would have used the T-34 in a surprise fashion, sort of. Yeah, it's a bit unfortunate that these... Oh, there we go. I was going to say that the PTRSs are firing at the infantry. That was a bit of a mistake, which is allowing this flak after basically free reign. Now he needs to get the fuck out of there with those Pinos. Here comes the T-34-76 with the target vehicles. There he goes. He is dead. However, the Rockhenwerfer is able to take at least a pot shot at the T-34 and cause some damage. And we only have one engineer squad from Alan. He perhaps should build another one. So that's going to take a while to repair that T-34. Here comes the T-70 to support the offensive in the south and perhaps do some damage. Panzer authorization complete for that Schwer Panzer quarters, but honestly, it's now in a very, very precarious position. All it would take really is the T-34-76 and the AT gun to come from the north to destroy it. Not really the biggest fan of this deployment from HM. He's kind of like deployed in a mega line to cover the whole sector. Which is, in my opinion, not the greatest decision of all time. Because what's going to happen most likely is the Germans are going to blob and come all in one sector. Here comes a Panzer IV Aus JM. AT grenade going to slow it down at the very least. T4 is coming out for HM. And I wonder what Ancient Pharaoh is building. Oh, he's building another Panzer IV-J. Okay, so we actually have double Panzer IV, which is not my favorite, really. Like, if it's a 2v2, you could probably, and you have two OKWs, you could probably go for a Panzer IV and a Panther. You know, one player going for the P4, one player going for the Panther. Although it would obviously make a lot more sense for JKD to be the guy to go for the Panther because he does not have an armor call-off. So I actually do agree with Ancient Pharaoh getting the Panzer IV. Unfortunately, no PTRSs for this unit, so he can't use the anti-vehicle satchels. We do have some skirmishing going on all across the line. It looks like the Soviets are kind of going to get the worst end of this engagement because it's happening at basically long range, but on the upside for them, Ancient Pharaoh is really, really low on the pop cap. He doesn't really have a lot of units on the field. Yeah, it's really, really good. Oh. Getting annihilated by Maxim. It is unfortunate just how shit the T-70 is at targeting retreating units. Nice offensive over here from JKD. Going to take out the AT gun while the Panzer IV is coming in from the side, and that is going to basically unhinge the whole defense and make it collapse. However, the Volksgrenadiers are paying for it almost with their lives. They get very lucky to escape. And now the Panzer IV is able to come down and be very, very close to the action. However, here comes a marked vehicle, and here comes a flank with some guards riflemen. The Panzer IV kind of gets lucky, to be honest, that he, the HM9000 doesn't have any munitions for RPG anti-tank grenades, because otherwise that would have been quite disastrous for that Panzer IV, even with just anti-tank rifles being around. And unfortunately for the Nazis, we have a double team from the Soviets coming up to push back JKD, but Ancient Pharaoh is not really supporting at all, except with some random Obersoldaten that are only now moving up. In fact, he's gonna spam Obersoldaten, which is a pretty interesting turn of events. Anyway, the AT gun is recovered. The Germans really didn't utilize and exploit their good attack all that well. They weren't able to destroy the AT gun or make any permanent gains in territory, it looks like. But the center remains very, very easily an area that can fall back into their hands, because no one really has any firm grasp on the central area of the map at all. It's a very, very even back and forth at the moment. So let's see if the Soviets are trying to bring out any units to break the stalemate. We do have HM going for an Su-85. Oh, they are. Obersoldaten almost going down to conscripts. Okay, both Soviet players going for an Su-85. I definitely do find that SUs work best in groups, because a single SU is very, very easily flankable, while two can deal a lot more damage than an approaching vehicle before it is able to get behind them in any kind of way, unless it, unless it comes from an unexpected direction. But this doesn't look like a map where like ridiculous flanks are particularly easy, except for like perhaps this area. Like, no joke, I feel like if you're playing in this map, you're gonna be at most watching over the fuel area, and you're not going to be caring about, oh, and on this side of the map, it's even worse because there's some site blockage terrain. Oh, wow. Why do you random asymmetry? Like, yeah, it does have some bales over here of hay, but it's really not equal to just, the trees that are over here. Where the fuck are they? Yeah, the trees. Anyway, this is a very, very good spot. It looks like the flank without being, not only without being detected, but also being kind of like a surprise move, because I'm guessing that most players are really not going to be thinking about this area of the map at all. In fact, these look like great spots for mines. And again, this side kind of weirdly not symmetrical enough, although there's a couple of choke points over here that vehicles are going to try to cross as well. So yeah, at this point, yeah, in fact, especially if I were one of the players with medium tanks, I would be trying to utilize those. Oh, yeah, the Su-85 going to start to go to work. I would be trying to utilize those. However, looks like for now, everyone's just going to pile on the center and ignore the potential for flanks. And there goes the Panzer IV. Yeah, this is why Su-85s rule especially together. Very, very nice. That Panzer IV definitely moved up without enough support, without enough intelligence, and paid the price. So that is, of course, pretty bad for Ancient Pharaoh. In fact, the SU's purchase, the SU purchase, is something that is going to counter, without the Allies even realizing it, it's going to counter the Sturmtiger, because obviously the Sturmtiger is really, really useless against the Su-85. Although, despite this success, the Nazis can push up with their infantry, just kind of wipe these weapon teams, which is kind of interesting. Although this is a bit of a disaster, in fact, because it looks like JKD kind of just forgot about his infantry, and he lost his last Volksgrenadier. Almost lost one of the Fallschirmjägers. Yeah, real interesting move there, to be completely honest. And the weapon teams are... Oh, one of them is going to get recruited, but actually it looks like the 76 millimeter AT gun was destroyed. If I were HM, I would try to rebuild it, most likely, because you never know what might come up, just like this Panther. Here comes a Panther, guys, I got a Panther. Anyway, as I said, having one Panther is probably pretty good, especially when you have SUs on the field, because, yeah, the Panther flanking around and getting into the rear of the SUs is a real threat. But, I love the random frangible smoke grenade. It's kind of hilarious. Yeah, the Pam... Why are you going for... Why does everyone always go for the Panzer Commander? You should go for the pintle-mounted MG42 machine gun so you can have some flexibility on your Panther. Other than one guy who I remember... Like a few games ago, I casted utilizing the Panther artillery like a fucking genius. Oh, that T-34 could have tried a ram. Is there gonna be enough? Ah, he tried! He tried, but he hit the cart. That is so unfortunate. Honestly, that T-34 should have been sacrificed for the glory of the Rodina. Yeah, unfortunate. Well, there goes the conscript squad. Ooh. Oh, wow. Nice usage of mines, by the way, from JKD. I see that his mines are being very effective. However, because the Panther, for no reason, really, decided to charge the Soviet tank line earlier without any support, now there's nothing to really exploit this, this assault gun being... damaged engine. Yeah, the Panzer IV is gonna come, but late. Too little, too late. And also, it's gonna run straight into the PTRSs! It's gonna run straight into the PTRSs and also the other Su-85 and the Mark vehicle. This is one major advantage of going with two mechanized support tactics, or in general, two doctrines that possess the Mark vehicle, is that you can use a Mark vehicle to push back one important enemy unit, like this Panther earlier, and then you still have another Mark vehicle in case another important unit comes around, and that's not something your opponents are going to expect, however, at least for the first few times. So that is potentially very, very nasty, and in fact we saw it being used to great effect. Now, of course, what's on my mind, and what should be on the mind of these Nazis once they start seeing Guards Rifle Infantry and Mark vehicles being used is, yeah, is there going to be an Isu-152 heavy assault gun? When you see Guards, you might also think, whatchamacallit, T-34-85s, but yeah, either T-34-85s or ISU-152. So basically, you've got to be thinking, yeah, I'm gonna have to deal with some kind of like major threat in the near future. Of course, the Panther is able to deal with both pretty well, but when it comes to ISU-152s, you really need to like double down on the Panthers. One Panther is not enough to deal with one ISU-152 that is supported by anything. And in fact, Panthers are going to be really, really difficult to work with against tank destroyers because of the penal battalions of PTRSs that are running around. In fact, I really, really like this combination. It's oddly clever. Like, I know it sounds like basic to say this, but it's oddly clever to pair a just gigantic spam of penals with a few guards, perhaps, and a tank destroyer-based build, because what is the issue with tank destroyers is getting flanked and mobility issues. Well, that is exactly what the penals with PTRSs are there to deter with their anti-vehicle satchels. And I mean, 2 or 3 squads with those PTRSs can like do a deceptive amount of damage to the rear armor, especially of a vehicle. But they're going to generally get ignored when the other threat that the vehicle is facing is a fucking Isu-152. So yeah, it's a pretty good combination, and then you can just leave a few squads without any upgrades to be anti-infantry units, which is pretty decent, yeah. Especially once these units start to get vetted up, they can, and if they're in a blob with numerical superiority, they can be very, very tough for the Nazis to deal with, and it's, I mean, it's kind of working so far. Not working that well to keep the VP under control for all time, but the Soviets, as you can see, are 336 VPs as opposed to 224 for the Nazis. And so that is, of course, nice. Oh my god, I fucking love you, HM. I want to fucking kiss you. I'm gonna come to Romania and just, like, absolutely fucking make a statue of you. Like a Roman Empire statue. It's not gonna be successful, but good maneuver. For once, someone actually fucking going for the fuel and doing some harassment on vulnerable points. Of course, gigantic OKW blob coming out, gonna force one of those conscripts away. Yeah, we have some mines also from HM now. Oh, this firefight is so hilarious. Yep, there goes 2 models. T-70 is still alive. It's now vet free. Now this is actually a deceptively important unit at this point. Победа будет за нами. Pretty deceptively important because with the vet-free, elite crews navigate the battlefield with ease, have an increased awareness of their surroundings, and reduce weapon scatter. Especially the first 2 is what you're looking for. Because this turns the T-70 from an early game anti-infantry unit into a monster of utility, basically. I repeat this a few times every once in a while once I cast games, but basically at this point, this thing is super fast because of the vet free, and it's also able to see very, very far away, a lot farther than usual because of the vet free. And guess what? You also have at your disposal with a vet free T-70. Like, hold it, like, look at this. Look at this. I've popped on the fog of war, right? And he can see all the way over here. See all the way over here, like basically an entire screen away with the T-70. And it also has the ability to pop on the recon mode for even further line of sight. So basically this is an intelligence unit at this point that can run away really, really fast if anything bad comes up. Now it's really easy to lose it in like 0.5 seconds if something goes wrong. But it's worth trying to preserve and investing some of your attention into, because if you just turn that recon mode on, you will not be disappointed by how useful it is, essentially. And here we go, we have the Su-152, the first one at the very least. The second one, yeah, we have basically the resources to get it out, and here comes some HE rounds on the Nazi infantry. I do love how he's just parking. You need to make sure that, yeah, there we go. And this is a pretty bad turn of events for the Nazis because they really don't have anything to counter this. Like, JKD was going for a king, which is very unfortunate given, you know, the Su-152, and given the fact that there's going to be 2 of them. Of course, we do have some pop cap issues from Alan. He's going to need to lose some units so that he can go for the Su-152. Yeah, real unfortunate stuff. Is that Vet 5 Volksgrenadier gonna die? The T-34 is gonna die for this. This is so sad. But the Panther, oh, nice. Nice blockage. The Panther might go down as well at this point. Here comes the mark target. This Su-85 could have attempted to finish it off, but it's a vet-free Su-85. I really don't agree with this. Vet-free Su-85s are so valuable. Vet 3 Su-85s should not really be lost like this. The Vet 2 Panther is not worth the Vet 3 Su-85 had it been lost. Of course, it's not gonna get lost. What the fuck is the Stuka doing? There it goes, immediately annihilated by the Vet 3 Su-85. And that's why this thing is just so incredibly powerful. It just annihilates everything. Amazing line of sight. Here comes the Is-152 heavy assault gun from Alan. Gonna immediately get kind of trolled by the Raketenwerfer anti-tank rocket launcher. It has now switched to armor piercing, or sorry, high explosive, and that's the end of that Raketenwerfer. It really wants to get the fuck out of there right now. You really don't want to duel with an Is-152 as a Raketenwerfer, my dude. Yeah, this can only go wrong for you, my dude. Get out. Get the bloody hell out. Let me try to portray the Su-152. Nah, it's not in a good pose. Is this one in a good pose? I mean, somewhat. Holy yeah. Yeah, this looks cool. Cool skin, though. BA Faschistov. There we go. I mean, am I wrong in thinking that this is over? Unless, like, the Germans get out another Panther and the King and then utilize them all together. Because, okay, I feel like one mistake that Alan and HM are doing is that they're keeping their ISUs separate from each other, which I feel like is a mistake. I feel like you should have the ISUs very close to each other. Maybe not in the exact same spot, but they should be near each other because that's a unit you don't really expect to see two of. Now, I'm gonna get psychological here, but you can counter a single ISU-152, right? Pretty easily. And here comes the fucking King. Big Papa Pump on the field. You can counter a single ISU-152, especially if you get two players against one, right? Because you can... You know how to do it, right? You just go around it, you get behind it, you make it so it has to turn around like an idiot, right? Why is this Panther going in unsupported while the King Tiger is still coming in? Yeah, I really don't like how the Germans are like playing two disadvantaged 1v1s, two separate disadvantaged 1v1s. The Soviets are helping each other out when the time comes, but the Germans really are just fighting two 1v1s. Anyway, if you keep two ISUs together, it's gonna break people's brains because you're expecting the firepower of a single ISU, and it's just not a unit you see two of like together, like almost ever. So you have no reference for what it can do basically with two of them. So your infantry is gonna get wiped a lot more. Your tanks are gonna get hit by massive volleys of armor piercing, right? And it's gonna be more difficult to flank two ISUs, especially if they're supported. So I don't know. I feel like they should be operating close to each other in the center, really, and then only moving to the sides in case something happens. Oh, here comes an airborne assault. My dude, what you need is a Panther. What you need is two Panthers. Why the fuck is Ancient Pharaoh not going for a second Panther? Anyway, what you need is two Panthers coming through from here, killing this Su-85, and coming around and menacing the ISU from the rear. Okay, now I can put this into perspective. Let us reveal the Fog of War. Or let us get the Fog of War and witness the T-70 with the recon mode. Look at this sight range. It is over a screen away. He is able to spot a gigantic horde of OKW guys. It starts at this tree, and it ends at this T-70, which is insanity. Look at how fast how far it sees. This vehicle is deceptively important and deceptively useful. And the KT runs over a mine, so there goes the KT. Here comes some guards, riflemen from the side with the button vehicle. Plus, there might be some mark vehicles coming in. Oh, smoke barrage. Going to save it for now, but you can attack round. Nice attack round. Gonna destroy that King Tiger. And now, only now that the King Tiger is dead, the Panther decides, hey, I'm gonna go up and fucking troll. And yeah, there goes the King Tiger, gonna get salvaged. Yeah, alright. What are you gonna do now? What are you gonna do now with your Panther? Yeah, you're gonna kill an Su-85, right? Wow, you could have done that earlier and saved the fucking King Tiger. Now you're in the middle of the enemy base and you're going to get trolled. It might even be able to kill the ISU-152. Perhaps you should have done it earlier, you know? When that was useful. Yep. And now the Panther is forced to escape without destroying the Su-152, which survives barely. And in fact, it even dies to PTRS. Says, yeah, this is GG. So, what do I like about the Soviet play? Well, I definitely enjoy this strategy of going for 2 mechanized support tactics and going for 2 ISU-152s. Again, I would have liked to see them operate close together. I really, really love Alan's build with just spamming penals and then going for SU-ISU combo. I feel like really good. The problem that I see is not enough engineers. You really need to cut 1 or 2 of the penals and just like get engineers, especially when you have a really big vehicle. You need to be able to repair it very quickly, and its combat effectiveness and like resource effectiveness is going to be a lot more important. And what I like about HM is that he sort of never really gave up despite getting trolled in the early game. And despite having a difficult early game, he was able to hold on to his area, and even though it doesn't seem like JKD was really too interested in helping out his ally, but HM was able to put up a lot of pressure to prevent JKD from fully disengaging him, and was always, you know, running around with his conscripts, you know, capturing some points, and then worked to the late game, which was the sort of strength of his strategy. So that's what he did. It worked. And yeah, what I mainly really don't like about the Nazis is is that another KT dead? Yeah, it is. What I really don't like about the Nazis, really most of all, other than the general general unwillingness to cooperate between the 2 Nazis, is really the building choices. Like, I don't know, the 2 flak half-tracks, the 2 Panzer IVs, then floating a bunch of fuel, going for the elite armor, but not going for the Sturm. I don't know. There's a lot of issues, mostly having to deal with macro stuff with these Nazis. So anyways, that was a great game. Thanks to Alan for sending it in. Nice usage of an unconventional, rather a different spin on a meta unit, basically. So yeah, want to thank y'all for watching. Hope you enjoyed. And I'll see you soon.